Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Smason, and welcome once again to NOLA Theater Talk. This is part of our outreach and support for the New Orleans theater community, part of the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group that was created back at the beginning of April. Yes, on April Fool's Day. And theatercriticism.com Facebook page, not the theatercriticism.com website, but the support page on Facebook, as well as on my own YouTube channel. You can check that out as well. That's where we stream to. We also remind anybody who wants to make a comment tonight to please make sure that you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. That's https://StreamYard.com/Facebook. The reason why is Facebook wants to basically get your permission to use your name if you're going to be doing that. And again, thank you very much for doing all of that. Tonight, we are really blessed. It's not often we get an artistic director into our studio to talk about their vision and their focus on what they're doing with their own company. But in this particular case tonight, we are very pleased to welcome Maxwell Williams, who is our artistic director and has been making such great strides over at Le Petit Theater de Vieux Carré. And without any further ado, please welcome Maxwell Williams. Yay.
Hey, Alan. Good to see you. I haven't seen you literally in months.
You know,
I feel like.
it is so strange that in the course of a normal year, you and I would see each other at least 5 or 6 times.
More. Just at Le Petit, we would see ech other 5 or 6 times, and then at shows everywhere around town and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah, I know.
And I have to say that I don't know if I still have a picture of them yet, but that fantastic production of August Wilson's The Piano Lesson that was going on and doing so well had to be shut down because of the COVID crisis that we went through in March. And I think you got 1 weekend, and then the other 2 were canceled.
It was almost 2 weeks. We had to cancel the final performance of the second week.
Okay.
Just because, it was just that time. It was right around that Friday the 13th or whatever it was, where the schools closed down, and we just kind of had to make the call, and that was disappointing. We did end up with that set living on stage at the theater at Le Petit for about 4 or 5 months after that.
I heard that a number of the New York theaters, and we got good news this week, was that 4 of the Broadway shows that have been such big blockbusters on Broadway, Hamilton and Jagged Little Pill, which is a new blockbuster, if you will, the Alanis Morissette musical, as well as Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, and Mean Girls, and all from the different theaters where they are all going to be pre-recording show songs to be broadcast on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So for those of us who are always looking forward to having some Broadway in front of Herald Square, they won't be able to do it the way they've done it in the past, but they're going to do, like everything else, the pandemic pivot, as it were.
Yeah.
Speaking of pandemic pivots, you are actually on site right now. And what I was going to allude to is a lot of the theaters on Broadway, they say that they've been overrun by rats because of inactivity, and nobody has really been in there to take care of the rodent problem. So, you leave the theaters alone, little rodents and little pests will come in. How are you doing over there? You want to show us where you are? I mean,
well, first of all, you sent me this really great and gracious list of things of how to prepare your visual element for the show. The first of which was, get yourself some good lighting. You can tell I don't have good lighting where I am right now.
You're all right.
I'm not just this pale because I've been quarantining for the last 9 months. I'm actually sitting in a warehouse, which is the Le Petit Theater scene shop that we took over last spring. And now we have, we've sort of drafted the scene shop itself to be a rehearsal space because it has lots of really, really good ventilation. I'll just show you. I'm on the 2nd floor here of this. This is our rehearsal studio for the play that we're in rehearsing now.
It looks like a Broadway rehearsal studio.
Except, and then if I'll see if I can get it down there, we've got our entire prop storage, and there hiding back there is the pageant wagon in the background, and there's our production manager, James, because we literally just broke from rehearsal about 5 minutes before we hopped on here.
Please tell James I said hello. James Lanius is, part and parcel, one of the reasons that Le Petit does so well.
No question.
Fantastic talent, and does not get the credit that he deserves on many an occasion. So please offer him.
No question. He's behind the scenes. He's extremely supportive. He is deeply involved in every single thing that we do at Le Petit. He's a huge part of the team here.
And you mentioned, let's talk about it real quick. You mentioned the portable stage that you have, in essence, the Le Petit portable stage. And again, you're going to be using that coming up in December. You're going to be using it for what? At least 4 weekends, is that right? 4 or 3 weekends?
At least 3 weekends, and hopefully 4. And you're right, I flubbed just now. I referred to it when I just showed it as the pageant wagon, which is what we were sort of colloquially, what we were colloquially calling it as we're building it. But it's known as the Le Petit touring stage. And right now, it'll enable us to take shows, not only during this time of kind of semi-lockdown and quarantine, and be able to produce outside the walls of Le Petit Theater, but also enable us to kind of bring our shows and bring the work that we do at Le Petit out into communities that we may not normally engage with as much as we would like to. So the specific thing that we're working on right now, which will be our return to live performance, is in the month of December, we're doing an original holiday show that we've written. It's called A NOLA Noel. And it's a cute little story, family-oriented story, and set against a backdrop of a lot of songs. Great, New Orleans has such an amazing tradition of Christmas music, not just Christmas music, but holiday music of all kinds.
Right.
So we've got, we've got Louis Armstrong represented and Louis Prima with all their crazy witty songs. What's Santa Claus going to say when he finds everybody swinging, shake hands with Santa Claus, all this, all the way over to an amazing song that was, I think, originally recorded by Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. It's called 8 Days of Hanukkah, and it's like the funkiest show-stopping its number that you've ever heard. So show's going to be about, it's an hour long, and we'll be performing it at several locations.
Now, the first weekend, you're not sure exactly yet where. You're working on it, December the 4th, that weekend. But the following weekends, you're going to be on the North Shore. The weekend of is that December the 10th or so? That's
weekend? Right in there. I believe it's the 10th through the 13th or 14th. It's that Thursday through the Sunday.
Right, and that's going to be at the Abita
Springs
Brew
Park.
Pub, right?
Exactly.
The brew pub. Yeah, and I've been there, and it's a beautiful place. And it's the first place when you said Abita Springs, I said, I hope they do it near the brew pub. And you said, oh, get away, it's going to be
absolutely.
That's fantastic.
And, and it's been really great working with, the folks in Abita Springs. We're just really excited to be able to bring some holiday spirit back to to the extent that we can. Let me say, we are being extremely safe about all this, right? Audience is going to be socially distanced from each other and from the performers. Everybody will be seated in kind of their own pods. The performers will not be masked during the performance, but through all the rehearsal process and everything like that, we have been. We're keeping things, and that's another reason, of course, as we all know, to do this work outdoors. It may get a little chilly, but we're hoping that people will put on their sweaters and we'll have hot cocoa there and things like that, and everybody can just have a really good time, and maybe something a little harder for the grown-ups.
And the weekend of the 17th, 18th, 19th, that area, I believe you're going to have a return to Orleans Parish, right adjacent to the Bucktown Marina, right? That's
right. So that's in Jefferson Parish, but you're absolutely right. It's the Bucktown Marina, right there, right across the canal from Orleans, which is a really great, amazing kind of park that they have out there that I know they're going to build out in the coming years with all sorts of exciting ideas and adding outdoor stages and stuff like that. So it's really exciting to be on the ground floor of that. That's Bucktown, as you say, the 17th through the 20th. And then the week of Christmas itself, on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then the following weekend on the 26th and the 27th, we're going to be performing at the Broadside Theater, which is, everybody will know the Broad Theater on Broad Street. Brian, the owner and proprietor there, has built this amazing outdoor venue that's right across the street from the Broad. And so it's fantastic for us and going to enable us to be in our home parish, and we're just super excited.
And the New Orleans Film Festival has been doing some stuff there the last few days over there as well. Yeah. So I'm having tonight a sidecar. Have you ever had a sidecar before?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
I wish I was having a sidecar.
one, right?
Refresh my memory, and for the benefit of the viewers.
2 ounces of cognac, an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and then another ounce of Cointreau. If you don't have Cointreau, you might go the poor man's way and go some triple sec. So tonight I'm a rich man, but I'm a poor man in my drink.
Do you have sugar around your rim, or you've decided to?
I decided to be devoid of the sugar because, let's face it, I've put on the COVID-20 already, so I don't need any more than that. So let me advance the conversation just a little bit by talking about some of your immediate past success before we talk about some of the future, because I wanted to remind some people. But I mentioned, of course, the piano tuner, but
piano lesson.
the piano lesson. I'm sorry, the piano lesson. I'm trying to grab the photos here. There are so many pictures that I've got. The first one that comes to mind, though, is this one. I think this is a wonderful picture I have of you and your lovely wife, Christina Pellegrini Williams. And again, what's so important about that picture and what's so important about Le Petit is it has a great deal to do with your marriage, right?
It does, yeah. Actually, we were married on stage at Le Petit, among other things. That was the year of Hurricane Nate, if you'll recall, that passed us by, thankfully, very much, but it kind of shut down the city right at the time we were supposed to get married. We were going to get married at the Tree of Life over in Audubon Park, but then weather-wise, we came. Yeah, we did it at the theater. And speaking of James, he and the production team at Le Petit, like, they just brought all the bower and the chairs and that kind of stuff that were supposed to be out there. And James went out and he took pictures of the tree and he projected it on the stage behind us. And in the end, it just worked out to be the most perfect thing for us. Absolutely.
And I want to just remind everybody that your wife is not only beautiful, but she's very talented. She was the director of the best musical of the 2019 period that was just announced by the Big Easy Awards, and that was A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. But before I show any aspects of that, again, one more time, that's a lovely picture that was taken the night that she was there, and I had a lovely picture of her and Michael McKelvey. I've shown that before, I did want to, mention the fact that you had history with A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. I mean, she is a dramaturg and a director in her own right, but you actually had been part of the development team for A Gentleman's Guide, and maybe you can describe a little bit about how that went. That was in your earlier work. Where, New Haven?
Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, yeah.
The job that I had before I came to Le Petit was as associate artistic director of a theater called Hartford Stage, and Christy had worked there off and on as well. In fact, I met her doing a play in New York with those same people, a Horton Foote play called Dividing the Estate, the first time around. And so we at our theater premiered that musical, A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, however many years ago it was now. And Christy was the assistant director of that premiere production, the subsequent production at the Old Globe Theater, and the Broadway production also. And so when it came time, when they finally released the rights, for regional theaters to do it many years later, it just made perfect sense for her to do it because of her great familiarity with the show.
And you may remember that one of the first things I came up and asked you was, when are we going to get Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder? Do you remember that?
Yeah, definitely. And didn't it sit like it fits so well? It felt like such a Le Petit,
Well,
thing.
yeah, but I have to say though, I saw it on Broadway, and Jefferson Mays and Bryce Pinkham were just fantastic. I mean, it was just a treat. And of course, those of you who saw the production, Ricky Graham was.
Yeah, I thought Ricky and Kevin did pretty good too.
Kevin Murphy, we'll mention him as well.
Kevin and Matt.
Matt. But again, the night that you were there in all of your glory, you were very happy. Not the greatest picture, but you were just so happy to have all the people there. And doing such a great job of bringing this kind of a show to New Orleans. I mean, some more of your great cast and design team. There's Casey, and you know, and again, you had a good number of people affiliated with that work, and I just thought that it was just superb. Again, that's going back, the big winner, the best musical of 2019. But you had other things. I mean, you know, I mean, under your helm, I mean, I will go back to a show that you did, and again, I want to make sure that I get it. This is a fantastic show that didn't show up a lot in terms of a lot of people got to know it. I wrote a review on it. I was just so enthralled with it. But basically, it was a journey of a woman retracing the steps that her mother had taken to get out of Germany on the Kindertransport and become a concert pianist. That was the pianist of Willesden Lane, and that was Golubeck, right? That was
Mona Golubeck.
Yep. Mona Golubeck. Yes. And she was, I mean, it was to see somebody play the piano as well as she did, and she played the piano. It wasn't like on Beautiful, you know, like Jessie Mueller fooled me into believing she was playing, but this lady, she didn't have to fool me. She was playing all those notes for real. And
there's no question about Mona is a concert level pianist, regardless of that show and the storytelling.
Yeah,
and there was some history there with that play before that too. I mean, Don Scott had produced it in California, and we had done it also in Connecticut. Don Scott Cooper, our executive director at Le Petit, and so that was a great thing. We knew we wanted to bring Mona in and do that show.
And I definitely wanted to not gloss over one of the other shows that I just absolutely loved, and you were able to secure the rights to Something Rotten at a rather early time. I don't know that there were many regional productions of this going on at all. And the team you had, the two lead actors that were played by Brian Darcy James and John Cipriani. Is that right?
John, not Cipriani. You're talking about
his name? In Something Rotten.
Right.
What's his
it's
name?
COVID
John?
brain.
Yeah. But anyway, those guys.
He wrote Almost Maine and Carré.
Carré. They were fantastic on Broadway, but my God, these guys did the national tour.
Look, there's Leslie.
And Leslie, yes, Leslie.
Who was extraordinary in the show. That one, of course, directed and music directed by Michael McKelvey, who's a frequent collaborator of ours.
Fantastic
that show was a blast. I mean, actually, there's not been many experiences that I've had in a theater, whether I've been involved in it or not, that like late in that play, there's a moment where they're doing the musical within the show called Omelette, right? Not to get too inside baseball here, but that's it.
Yeah.
Where it reaches just a level of comic insanity that I'm telling you is almost Aristophanic. I mean, it just makes your head sort of explode with it, just how wild it is.
And you pulled out, again, a little bit cross casting because Christian Borle did it on Broadway, but you're William Shakespeare.
Yeah,
oh my God, it was
wonderful awesome. Brian Demond, who again is a frequent collaborator of ours. In fact, he was in the piano lesson you were just mentioning, also in a force of very, very different role, you know, as a pastor in the piano lesson when we were shut down.
I mean, amazing work, and there's Leslie getting
the
now.
Gang.
You had. I'm trying to remember all the other ladies in there, but I think one of them wasn't.
I've taken off my glasses, so I can't see as well.
But that's okay. But I mean, they all were fantastic. I mean, you know, just great work, and you know, again, not to say that they haven't done great work at Le Petit before you got there. I mean, they've had a great history, but I mean, you have really upped the ante and set the standard. You know, so much greater.
I appreciate you saying that, Alan. You know, and this really isn't the politician in me, but I do feel like in so many ways, like so many people have set us up for success in this time. You know, I mean, and it has taken some time, to kind of to get all the pieces in place, of course, and you have to kind of gain momentum. And I don't want to focus. I know, we're hopefully maybe the end of this thing is in sight, but that was, of course, was so like immensely frustrating about the shutdown, was that it was happening right at a time. I mean, this season that we're in right now, the season that we were planning was just going to be the biggest thing we had ever done.
You had Angels in America.
We were
one.
We were in rehearsal for Angels in America when we shut down.
Next, right? Yeah,
yep.
I mean,
and we were going to do the big Tennessee Williams play, big other musical world premiere, all this kind of stuff. And so hopefully we'll be able to get those projects going in 21, 22. In the meantime, we're focusing on a little bit, some smaller projects that we know that we can do safely, or if we have a very limited capacity in the theater or outdoors. And we're doing
looks
a lot of this.
Okay. Looked like you got a little bit of Frozen there, Look,
sorry about that.
So I did want to talk a little bit about, you're going to be doing some productions in December. Very quickly, I wanted to go over those if I may. And one of the first ones is going to be the North Pool, right? And this is a photo of Rajiv Joseph. That's an older photo of him because he's
still handsome though.
Yeah,
he's like mid-40s. He's not,
I just love his work. He did Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo. And he did Guards at the Taj. And this is another one called The North Pool. And you're going to present that as a stream. It's going to be done live and then as a stream. Is that right?
Yep, it's going to be a live stream, staged reading. It won't be fully realized, but it will be a lot more realized than just people, certainly at music stands reading the play to each other. There will be some staging, multiple camera angles, and that kind of stuff. And we're going to that whole project series, which we started a few weeks ago with a broadcast of the anthology of Negro poets. North Pool will be our second project that we're doing with that, and then in January we'll be doing Katori Hall's The Mountaintop about Martin Luther King on the last day of his life, kind of an imagination of that. And so our associate artistic director Kenna Moore is really the kind of primary producer behind that stuff. She directed the anthology, and we're just it's going to be, it was important to us that we do it live. We, of course, had done a number of pre-recorded things, radio programs and stuff like that over the summer. But we wanted to really get back into the live element. And, of course, that brings many, many more complications because we've got multiple camera operators and movement and all that kind of stuff. And that'll be...
I know that you're going to be doing some cabaret. So one of the other shows that I know that you're going to be bringing up is Kathleen Monteleon. Tell me a little bit about her. She's going to be doing a cabaret.
So she's an extraordinary actor. For anybody who was just paying close attention at the New Orleans Film Festival, she just released a movie that she wrote and produced called American Reject. And Kathleen's story, among other things, I mean, she's been on Broadway, performed all across the country, now lives here. She and her husband, Frank, made this movie. And it was, in real life, Kathleen was a contestant on a reality show that was casting the musical Grease. I don't know if you remember this. This is a few years ago now, probably like 10 years ago now. And anyway, so she made it a certain part of the way and then she was cut. And so she wrote this really funny and moving film about the experience of kind of being on a reality show. In this case, it's called like Pop Star, I think. And like Brian Batt plays the MC of that. And Ricky's in the movie also. Ricky Graham's in the movie also.
And you mentioned Brian. I believe he's going to be, and you've seen him there. He's going to be.
The plan is for him to come on and do a couple of numbers with Kathleen as well. Yeah. So it's not the film obviously, but we're going to do a night of her doing cabaret live. Again, no one in the physical audience, but live streamed. And she's just got a great set list of all sorts of musical favorites and shows that she's done, and also a few original songs that were written for the film. And yes, Brian's gonna come through.
And of course, Janet Daly Duval's there, Lawrence Goebel, who of course is heading up the Tennessee Williams Festival, and then there's another lady there. I think she's going to be doing something too, isn't she?
She is. So Kathleen's Cabaret, which is called Just Getting Good, is on December the 10th, and that is the great Leslie Castet, of course,
who's here?
Surprise!
That's right. This is one of those Zoom hijack things, right?
Like,
pretty much.
this is your life, it's like the old show. Hey, Maxwell.
Good to see you, Leslie.
So I said, I have to bring you in because she's the Queen of Cabaret is going to be performing, the Queen of New Orleans Cabaret, as I always have called her, because she is fantastic, and I want to urge everybody to make sure they see this. But this is a great title that you've got. It's called Crazy World. What a wonderful title for a COVID epic show, right? I mean, it is a crazy world. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody got to see that Leslie was here. And again, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other things that Leslie's been involved with as well. But I did want to make sure that you mentioned this is going to be Crazy World's going to be when? What's the dates, Leslie?
December 17th.
Okay. And
December 17th at 7:30 p.m., right? Live, no matter what, no matter what happens. It's like warts and all, baby. It's like
doing a play. It's like doing a show.
Real life. Yes, it's insane. It's good. There are no retakes. It's just what it is. So
I'm gonna take you back in time a little bit, Leslie, because I remember there was a time. I mean, first off, you looked a lot better than this guy. Always did. But in addition to that fellow there, I believe you also, were responsible for being on stage with this fellow at one point as he holds his Big Easy supporting it. And again, that is an opportunity to have me bring in our other guest for the evening again.
What an effortless segue!
Yes, there he is.
That's my boy.
That's your son. Your son is here.
Wait a second. Hold on. That was
seen a razor since pandemic. What's going on there, son?
I've just embraced. I've embraced my full Orson Welles qualities. You know what I mean? Just going full Orson.
All good.
Is the plan.
All good. Very good.
So I asked Clint originally to come in, as part of the broadcast, but he's been working something most actors are not doing now. And so, he says, I'm going to be a little bit late. So I figured I'd pad a little bit. Maxwell was lucky and gracious enough to be able to fill in the first half of the show. You and I are going to take off, but I did want you to reacquaint yourself with your mother from Next to Normal. Those of you who remember, that was that's what
we're working together once more.
I wanted to talk about that.
Okay,
go ahead. You want? Go ahead.
Shameless plug. We're doing mandatory merriment, but in a virtual setting this year. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. We've got I think most of the original cast, with the exception of maybe one or two, if I'm not mistaken.
But then one or two.
Have.
Now I think you're gonna have everyone there except maybe Shivas. Is that right?
Shivas is not.
Shivas is.
Shivas is not able to join. But we have another special guest star coming in as a new character. Okay, so Matthew Thompson is coming in as a brand new character
from Next to Normal.
From Next to Normal, right? It's the whole family. And Troy Poplis, who was our Benny from season 2,
right,
is joining, and Clint was our Dewey from season 1. So Clint, you and Troy get to have this brand new chemistry, which is going to be fun.
This is going to be great. I'm so excited.
I'm really excited because this is a real homegrown Christmas tradition now. Mandatory merriment, started up was it 2017 or 2018? I'm trying to remember when you actually
18. We past 2 seasons.
So and because this last year has been kind of like forget it. It's been so quick in a sense, and then so long in a sense because it's just been one monotonous thing after another. But yes, so you all will be on stage again doing that. I guess at this point in time, it's just about time for me to thank Maxwell for being with us, and I'm gonna let Leslie stick around for a little bit while we talk and reminisce a little bit with Clinton, and hopefully we'll finish up with Clint. But Max, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, good to see you, Clint.
Are you in the orchestra pit at Le Petit, or where are you?
I'm at the shop. I'm at the Le Petit shop. I showed at the top of the thing, but we have been rehearsing in here the last few days.
Amazing.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yay. How beautiful that is.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, you know, the production crew is a little worried that we just want to take it over as a rehearsal studio because they've lost their tank space. But yeah, it's cool.
Awesome. So great to see you.
Great to see you.
Can't wait to go through the
much.
stage door again and perform on the 17th. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And please tell your lovely wife that I would love to have her to talk a little bit, because you all have like Brian Batt, you mentioned she's got a connection to Brian's show, Dear Mr. Williams, and I'd love for people to learn a little bit more about that, because she actually, I think, was responsible for being
She's worked with them on the development of that these whole last several years. So yeah.
So let's see what if we can get her into the show one day too, and one night we'll have her as well. But thank you very much, Max.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you.
Have a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope that it's a safe one, and that
I ain't seeing no one.
Yeah. I hope we get a chance
I'm seeing my dog, and that's it.
That's right. We love socks.
Turkey sandwich.
Right.
That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Be good.
Bye, guys.
All right. There goes the fabulous Maxwell Williams. And again, I want to thank you for being here. Clint, we're going to get to you, but I thought it would be appropriate, you know, for you and Leslie, since you are working together. And again, you know, you were not in the second year. I think you had a conflict, and you were unable to be on stage.
It was just scheduling issues and, you know, money and shit, you know, all that thing.
Well, he had to put on a garter belt and fancy pants that year. You know,
that's
he
true.
had to go. Yeah, he had to be the MC. My little boy has grown up to work at a easy nightclub in Freeward, Berlin.
The pay wasn't as good. The pay wasn't as good, but the recognition was really choice. So you know.
I loved it. You were fantastic in that. I loved it.
Thank you.
Anyway, so Leslie, just a little plug. We have decided that you are going to make a return trip on the date that will live in infamy here. Is that correct? December the 7th?
December the 7th. Wait. Oh, yes. I'm coming back December the 7th.
Right. On this show. And we're going to talk about your cabaret and perhaps, you know, go over some more of the other things that I neglected to mention tonight, because you were just sort of dropping by. But
right.
Again, I've got the mother and child reunion, as Paul Simon would say.
Mama,
my boy.
Anyway, so
it was,
I will.
You know, I wanted to say before, that was many years and many pounds ago. I Jesus, that's
me too, baby.
I couldn't fit into that green.
All right. So anyway, Leslie, have a wonderful time. I know the family, et cetera, is sort of like, you know, together, and they should be spread out, but just be careful.
We're trying to get them back. You know,
so just do what you got to do. And again, I'll see you on December the 7th. We'll plug that coming up on our show later on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out. All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Love you, Clint. We'll talk soon.
I love you, Leslie. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Leslie leaves the room, and that leaves the two of us. Now, she was born in Laplace.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Oh, God. That's a varied and storied tale there. I was born in Oklahoma. But I only spent about 8 years, like the first 8 years of my life there, because at the age of 8 or 9, somewhere in there, I got a job in Branson, Missouri, as a featured youth vocalist for a country western variety show. So I did 4 years in Branson, then moved to upstate New York with my family, and then from there went to college in Long Island, and then immediately came down here, and I've been here ever since, for about 10 and a half years.
And so what are you having tonight while I ask you that?
So first, I have to tell you this in order to tell you what I'm drinking. I just got done with a gig. Like I was playing piano and singing at MRB, Mississippi River Bottom, in the Quarter. And it's a nice outdoor courtyard. It's very, very respectably socially distanced. They require you to wear a mask if you're walking around. You know, it's a very safe thing. And I've been lucky enough to have that gig for the past like 3 or 4 months, and it's helped a lot. But I'm currently in the like literally behind the bar, so all of this is like the stock beer that will put in the cooler. But tonight I'm drinking my usual. It's a Bud Light Chelada which is a clamato juice and crap beer. And then I'm chasing it. Well, I'm chasing this with this, which this is Jameson. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, I take my drinking seriously. Yeah, it helps.
After a gig, you're entitled to anything you want. Well, I hope you heard before I didn't get to ask Leslie, but I knew Leslie would bring some wine because her husband has Wino, which is the wine institute in New Orleans. And fantastic place. So I knew she would have some wine with her, so I didn't really want to bother to ask her. But I had a sidecar. You were probably still on
I love
your
a sidecar.
And I made it, with fresh lemon juice and some cognac. I had some VSOP Courvoisier, I believe, and
very nice.
And I added, I had triple sec because I didn't have Courvoisier tonight, so that's the way it goes. But
cheers,
again,
good to see you, buddy.
Cheers to you. Sidecars are very, very much the thing at Commander's Palace. That's where I normally have my Thanksgiving dinner with my mom and my son if he's in town, my daughter-in-law, my granddaughter, sometimes my sister, my brother-in-law and their family. But unfortunately, this year, because of situation, my mom's health is not necessarily in 100%. And she's had some issues. And so I've been trying my best to figure out a way that we could get takeout from Commander's. But everything, in addition to some health issues, everything she's allergic to was all that they had on the menu. She can't have chicken or turkey. Okay, so that half the menu's gone there. And then she can't have shrimp or crawfish or crab. She's allergic. So, no shellfish. So when I asked if they could maybe make something for me, like a steak or something like that, I was told that they wouldn't be able to fulfill any special requests for Thanksgiving Day. And I understand. So instead, I'm going to keep it in the Brennan family. I'm going to be doing some of the Ralph Brennan thing over at Ralph's at the Park. Oh, yeah. But it's the first time I'm not going to be at Commander's, I would say, in decades. I mean, in decades. That's wild. And it's always been, our choice of being there for celebrating. So I'm sorry, but Lally, I hope, and T and the rest of the people over there. Of course, I knew Ella, long time ago. They were all customers of mine at the record shop. And again, that kind of leads me in, music, etc. You have a fantastic capacity. You mentioned the piano, but you also have some other instruments you can play as well, correct?
I dabble. I played guitar for a few years.
You play guitar,
I picked up ukulele. Yeah, I picked up ukulele, so that's helped out a lot. I tried to learn tenor saxophone. I'm pretty crap at it. But it's
skill set. Somebody who plays piano, which is a percussion instrument, and guitar, is not going to probably be able to do the reed instrument that well. I would be very surprised.
It's interesting because the reed instrument, the theory is the same as the piano, because once you learn piano, I'm kind of the opinion that you can pretty much learn any other instrument. But the thing is, as a singer, you have a different appreciation for reed instruments because the reed gives you almost the same apparatus as vocal cords. And so it's the amount of pressure and the amount of space that you're putting between the reed and the sounding of it that gives it. So, it's similar, but very, very different.
Yeah. I always have said that to me, the closest thing to the human voice is cello. I just find that really emulates a human voice probably closer than anything I've ever been able to come up with. And again, even Jacqueline Dupre, who was such a wonderful, I don't know if you know the name, but Jacqueline Dupre was this incredible cellist who was responsible for some recordings of the Elgar and several other pieces that were just fantastic. She said when she was stricken with Parkinson's, I believe it was, she said that she couldn't sing anymore. She says, I can't sing it. So she sung through her expressive use of her hands.
Exactly.
And that's what she says, I can't sing anymore. And it's so heartbreaking. Listen, we had a few comments. Let me see who's we had a couple of people say wow, and that's
wow.
Great. And
he's so hairy.
And our wonderful Janet Shea, love the rehearsal space. So I'm sorry, Janet, I didn't get to put that up early. I just noticed that we were dealing with that. And again, if anybody wants to likewise leave a name, like see Janet, put her name up. You can do that if and only if you give permission to Facebook, and what you have to do is you have to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and allow them to put your name up, because it's a third-party thing. So Clint, let me get back to talking. I mean, we talk about your fantastic music skills. I mean, you were on stage at the National World War II Museum at the Stage Door Canteen. I remember you did the Andrews Brothers, wasn't that right?
Yeah, that was a show, huh?
That was a heck of a show, and it showed off a lot of your talent and your ability to do a lot of the old time songs too. From that era. I mean, so I don't know that there's nothing that you can do, that you don't have domain over. I mean, you were able to do, as I said, Next to Normal. You were able to do the work there, and so I guess we're bound to get into the more recent days. But I showed earlier, you holding your Big Easy Award for Next to Normal, and you still have that
wild
suit.
Night, man.
Do you still have that suit?
I don't. I borrowed that suit. And I wouldn't be able to fit in it anymore, even if I did own it.
Well, that was pretty well. Well, you did manage to get into this one, though, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I believe it or not, I worked really, really hard to slim down. I lost about 25 pounds for this role.
Amazing.
I still think it doesn't really show, but I was like, I don't want to be like vain about it, but I definitely want to be a bit more slender than I currently was at the time. So Alan, I switched to tequila. I'm taking something seriously if that happens,
Right.
But no, I changed my diet, and I was walking everywhere and riding bikes, and
Well, standing next to Callie too doesn't hurt. You look a lot nicer.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have to ask. I mean, you really went. I mean, if some people would go, 100%, you were like 120% almost in this thing. It was pretty intense. And as a result, you won the Big Easy Best Actor Award.
It felt really good.
I can imagine. Now you're like Audra McDonald. Now you won the supporting actor and the lead actor now. So you're gonna have to go back and repeat again. You're gonna have to.
I know.
You have to do some serious roles too. So
to be honest, you said I went 150% or whatever. To me, there is not there's no question. If I'm gonna take a role like this, and the way it came about was Callie Russell texted me one night, and she was like, "Hey, Christopher and I we're thinking of doing Cabaret. Would you be interested in being the MC?" And I said yes, unequivocally.
Right.
I'm there. And she was shocked, but this was a role that I'd been waiting years to play. And I'd be damned if I wasn't going to absolutely give everything that I had to making this thing that I thought about a very, very long time, for years and years, come to fruition in a way that I felt proud of, and also that was commensurate with the desires of the production, if that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. But now, you were not around when Joel Grey came out with his role originally back in the 60s, and you must have been a young man when you saw Cabaret, which came out, I think, in 72. So I know you were not born in 72.
No, right.
So so when did you first become acquainted with? Was it through the film, or did you see a production of it live?
I think I was in middle school or high school when I saw it. I saw the film for the first time.
Okay.
And
so you saw the film before the Alan Cumming production?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And to be honest, I when I watched the film, I was like, this has bones of being something that is, I guess, a bit more hard-edged than what the film actually was, and it intrigued me. I was like, wow, this is a really interesting story that because of the time and place that it was produced, they weren't allowed to. And then I found out about I Am a Camera. And so I read that, and I was like, oh, well, this is what it should have been.
Right.
And then I saw the Alan Cumming thing, and I was really careful, Alan, about not ripping off other people's performance. What I think I'm most proud of my MC was that I made up my mind very early on that I did not want to be Alan Cumming or Joel Grey, either of them. I didn't feel like either of them were what I saw the MC being. And I had a lot of conversations with Christopher after rehearsals at Bud Rips, just getting absolutely just tanked. We had a lot of really interesting conversations about his idea of who the MC was in our production. And what we arrived at was the idea that the MC was the lens through which the entire production is viewed. And that really started having things click for me, and there was always also a boyish nature, to the MC that I don't think I would have had without Christopher Bentavenia's kind of brilliant directorial expertise,
Right.
But it was
for the benefit of those people who maybe it was their grandfather's cabaret, if you will, or their grandmother's cabaret. I mean, Candor and Ebb wanted to do I Am a Camera, and they wanted to do it as hard edged as they could. But back in the 60s, mentioning someone being attracted to same-sex relationships, and talking about a lot of the things that they talked about, that was all toned down quite a bit. Matter of fact, in order to sort of fill some of the space, they had Jack Gilford, who you may not remember, but Jack Gilford was a wonderful actor who did the part of Hair. Was it? Was it? No, that was. I'm trying to remember. It's Herr Schmidt. Was it? No, it was
Herr Schultz.
Yeah. And he basically they expanded that a little bit. They had another song in there that they cut when the musical called Mieskite, which was sort of like what they call something not really an attractive person. Somebody's a Mieskite. I mean, ugly, but I got a face that could stop a clock, right? That's a Mieskite. And again, that's one of the lines from the song. But he was wonderful in that. But they scaled all that back when Alan Cumming redid it back in the 90s at 54 Below, whatever. And essentially what they tried to do was would give it a very hard edge. Now, the first group that did it here was JPAS. And I saw some of the people who were the JPAS subscribers going to palpitations in essence. Of course. I mean, it was just something they had not been. Now, luckily that is many years ago, but a hat should be tipped to for Dennis Assaf for his courage in putting that on, and again to Christopher.
Just in terms of locality, that's a tough place to pull off a show like that. I mean, but Dennis has done that kind of throughout his career as well. Not necessarily to the extent that Christopher has done it. However, Christopher he's in New Orleans, the main chunk of the city. So, you get a bit more liberal crowds here,
Anyway, but Christopher's known, and we had him on last Friday, of course, talking about.
I watched it. It was lovely.
I'm glad you got to see
them. I'm sorry I couldn't be here.
That's okay. It was a great opportunity for you to be here. But I really was glad to have him and talk about his many past successes. And of course, you figured into this as well. I know I probably should mention a couple of the things. Catherine Talbot says hi.
Hi.
So but again, some of the things that you've done in cabaret, you would actually go off the stage, and didn't you go to the band?
I mean, well, we made it kind of a I don't know, not a rule necessarily, but we wanted it to be not necessarily immersive. However, in Brechtian theater, which is kind of where this Candor and Ebb style of show came from, with Kurt Weill, and Bertolt Brecht, there is this idea of alienation of the audience, right? And if an actor who is playing a part on a stage speaks directly to an audience member, all of a sudden they're alienated, and it makes them uncomfortable and gets them out of their comfort zone. And so for me, it was, well, these are people in the Kit Kat Club, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to speak to them as I would on Bourbon Street when I'm playing piano. Like, no, this isn't just something you just listen and watch. No, you're a part of this. I bring them to me. That's the main thing,
So, in essence, though, you all did this thing, but it was only for like 3 weeks or so, and then
it was about 3 weekends.
And then, as we mentioned last Friday, the actual venue now is closed. Yeah, that performance space is no longer available.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, but what are you going to do?
It's a shame. But I'm glad that they're still they still have an online presence and are selling local New Orleans artists' works through their gallery online. So
yeah,
you know, that's one silver lining of that situation.
So again, I'm just you know, I think trying to make sure that I got all of your. I think I don't know if I did this one. Yeah, I did do that one earlier. I'm just making sure I got all your pictures in. And again, I could have gone back and, as I said, the Andrews brothers and so many other things. I mean, I've got lots of pictures of you, you know, from previous productions that I had not, you know, even thought about trying to get them all in. But I knew that tonight would be a great opportunity to talk with you. You're performing now, and you said that you've been doing, you know, the piano gig on Bourbon Street. So I guess I might ask, you know, in terms of your acting skills, are you doing anything that might be aside from Mandatory Merriment, which we mentioned? We'll talk about that again before we leave. But besides that, are there any other projects that you have to sort of flex your acting muscle?
For the time being, I mean, no. I you know, if I'm being honest, Alan, I don't think that it's I don't think that that's a possibility that we're even looking at having live theater. I mean, with the exception of a vaccine coming out in the next few months, of having live theater within the next year, and it could be a year and a half. That said, it also like coincided kind of fortunately with my I've become very picky and choosy about what I do theatrically. And I think that's a luxury that I have, having like been here for 10 years and gotten the acclaim that I have for the work that I've done, which I'm extremely, extremely grateful to this community for. However, I think if you think theater is going to be coming back 100% within the next year, I don't think that that's a thing that can happen. But I also think that there are good things to come out of that, because what we are looking at now is a bunch of theater makers that are honestly having a look inside of themselves and in their companies and in their communities about what they can do differently in order to ensure that the incredibly diverse and eclectic community of theater makers in this town are represented and given not even equal opportunity, but equivocal opportunity, you know? And I think that's a very important thing that should be going on in New Orleans theater, you know? And I think a lot of companies are doing it already, or were on their way to doing it already before COVID hit. But I would urge everyone, you know, that makes theater in this town to use this time to reflect on what makes us great as New Orleans theater makers. Because a lot of the time, you know, you have people from BIPOC communities that are not being represented in the ways that they should. And I think that, you know, if anything comes out of this that is good and that is lasting, then I hope it is that, you know.
Well, you know, and again, that might more or less pose a question for people, you know, people who come from a background of white privilege, as it were, people who have had opportunities to advance their careers on stage and doing a great job. Does that mean that they're going to necessarily have to take a back seat in future productions?
No. And that's just, yeah, you know, you said white privilege earlier. I mean, that's just a knee-jerk reaction that we've all gotten into from white privilege. You know, there's room on a New Orleans stage for every person, no matter their sexuality, no matter their religion, no matter their creed, no matter their race. No, you know, like it doesn't matter. We all have these voices, and all I hope is that eventually we get to a point where, you know, we have more plays that are featuring the struggle of a black actor or an Asian actor, or you know, like
there are a lot of people right now who are saying this is not the time for me to bring my play out. I want to see other people bring theirs out. So it seems to me that while maybe people won't be necessarily denied a spot, a lot of people are going to take themselves out of the playing arena, in order to allow others to be in that playing arena, and for them to have an opportunity that they might not have enjoyed prior to
the other
on.
The other thing is like, instead of looking at it in terms of, oh well, I'm not going to be considered for this part because I'm not, you know, a black woman or an Asian man or what have you. You look at it. I look at it in terms of, these are new stories. That's something to be excited about, for God's sake. This is an opportunity that we have as a nation to all of a sudden have these new stories in an age where stories are stale and they've been told 1,000 times, to all of a sudden have these new stories that we've never even, we haven't heard of, you know? And that's a really exciting time to be in theater.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel about it.
And you know, I'm looking, Pamela Nolan Davis, I think it is, who's doing the Chemin de
Pamela Davis
Bayou.
Nolan.
Yeah, Pamela
Yeah.
Davis Nolan. You know, I was looking forward to seeing that because that was but again, it held up on the on the way right now until they can get a time when they can perform it. But you know, I'm sorry that some of these things are not showing up, because I think that despite a lot of the problems that we've had, New Orleans has really been very forward in many of the things that they've done. I mean, they do have a long way to go in some areas. We have had a history, you know, but when you look at stuff like, you know, mandatory merriment, you know, and you know, when you see shows that go on like Cabaret, I mean, Cabaret utilized a you know, a black actor for Clifford, right? I mean, that was something that Clint, you know, Chris Benevenu said, I want to do this, and he's a great actor. I want to put him, and again, I think that there are, and you know, this is not to give accolades to people for bringing people of color into a role, but you know, we have done that on a consistent basis. You worked at the World War II Museum. There were Victory Bells there that were of color, and so you know, if the main thing that they needed was talent, and they discriminated against people who didn't have talent and those people who had talent. So you know, I again don't know whether or not the rest of that stuff is all accurate. I'm not trying to say, but I mean, they like a lot of other people would want have the best possible cast on stage, and again, my feeling is that unless there's something that just runs historically antithetical to it, you know, that everything. I mean, we see all the time. We see Shakespeare presented with different you know, various casts of different actors, et cetera, from various ethnic backgrounds, and nobody ever has said, gee whiz, we shouldn't do that. You know, I mean, nobody's ever said that Shakespeare never used women on stage. Let's just use men dressed up as women. I mean, we have moved past that point now, and we are now in the 21st century. We should be able to enjoy theater that's inclusive, and people are trying now to see it move towards equity, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for us to continue doing that. Again, Clint, you're going to be involved with Leslie Castay, Mandatory Merriment. Again, you're going to be reprising your character. Another one who unfortunately won't be on stage is Alan Payne, and of course he was the music director in your original production. Alan has moved away out of our town now. He's gone. Not that I think he necessarily wanted to leave, but I think it was kind of like one of those situations he had to, and we're going to miss him too. He's, you know, one of those guys. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing you, you know, flex your musical muscles and your acting skills, and again, having fun with it, because that's the one thing about Mandatory Merriment. The one thing that is the key word to that whole show is fun. You know, it's not a show that really takes itself too seriously. You know, and I love seeing those little vignettes where the various weathercasters will get on and talk about, you know, Snowmageddon and all those things that they talk about. So again, great writing there. Leslie Castay doing the directing there, and you being one of the integral people. I'm so glad to have you back. And again, happy Thanksgiving. Just, you know, want to wish you and yours a very warm time. Thank you for being on the show tonight. You've made you know, this a special night for me.
My pleasure.
And again, if there's anything that you have coming up, you know, don't fail to let us know about it. We'll hopefully be able to promote that for you.
I've got Mandatory Merriment coming up with the Southern Rep. It's going to be an all virtual experience. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not necessarily sure right now about the dates on that. But I'm also playing at Mississippi River Bottom, MRB 515 St. Philip in the French Quarter. If you feel like if you feel like that you are being safe and you would like to go out to a place that takes safety versus COVID very, very seriously, just in terms of mask wearing and social distancing and hand sanitizing stations and having outdoor live music, please come down. I'm there basically Thursday through Saturday from 5 to 8. So I
want to wish you a lot of success. Thank you for being here again. Janet Shea earlier said fantastic rehearsal space. There she says thanks, and Catherine also said you're breaking my heart. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was your beard. Anyway, love you too much. Take care of yourself, and look forward to seeing you. If you'll stick around a little bit, I'll say goodnight to you privately. And in the meantime, I'm going to let everybody know that this has been the NOLA Theater Talk Show, and we appreciate your watching us. We're on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel. Thank you for being here tonight. And again, I hope that those of you who have been out there have enjoyed our show. My name is Alan Smason, wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. And again, I will see you at the theater.